I read 30 books in 30 days, and today I'm going to tell you how you can do it too. Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Brianna and this is 4 Paws in a Book. I make bookish videos over here on my little corner of the internet, so if that's something that you're interested in, make sure that you hit that subscribe button down below. I did in fact read 30 books in 30 days, and today we're going to kind of wrap it up, talk about my experiences, and I have some thoughts if you want to do it and be as crazy as I am. So starting on March 16th, going through April 15th, we had 30 days where the goal was to read 30 books. I did in fact recruit a few of my friends. I'll have them linked down below because I think some of them are doing vlogs for this as well. But it was a ton of fun, and I will probably do it again because I am crazy like that. But first I want to talk about the why behind this, and then we can talk about the what and all of the other details. And the why is pretty simple. I have a couple of big goals for my channel this year, for my reading life, and one of them is to drastically reduce my physical TBR. Obviously doing 30 books in 30 days is going to do that. Of the 30 books, 15 of them were books that I had owned like prior to the start of this, and another 5 of them were books that I had purchased that month and then read. So 2/3 of the books either came off of my TBR number or never went onto it when I hauled the book. The other 10 came from the library and Kindle Unlimited. They were books for projects where I didn't necessarily like own the book, but I needed it for the video project, so that's where we got it. In these 30 days, I read 8,332 pages, which breaks it down to a page count of 278 pages per day, roughly, which is a lot of pages. And there were definitely some things that helped with that because I had some weekend projects. We had Peace Talks one weekend where I read a bunch of books. I had Scatagorathon one weekend, so I read a bunch of books for that. So that really kind of helped bolster that number and help keep it on track. But honestly, I don't think I was ever more than 2 or 3 books behind at any time during the month. I kept on track and I read a book every single day for the most part. I asked over on Instagram if anyone had any questions about my experience with this, and one of the questions was, how did it affect the ratings? And that was something that I was really curious about as well, because I think the idea going into it, even I had, was that like I would pick up books that I wasn't necessarily excited about, wasn't things that like everyone was talking about, well-loved books, whatever, but I was picking them up because they were short, because they fit a project, because like I could get them off of my TBR, that kind of thing. And in reality, it actually didn't end up happening. I mean, while over half of the books that I read fall from 2.5 to 3.5 stars, which is kind of the middle of the bell curve, I feel like that's pretty normal for any month. So if you look at the bell curve of this, the 30 books in these 30 days, if you look at it, it's not much different than any other 30-day period. I was just reading more of them. I still had 8 4 stars and I had 2 5 stars, which honestly, the 5 stars have been eluding me this year. So maybe I just need to read more books and then I'll get more 5 stars. Maybe that's the key. I read a wide variety of genres, but romance and fantasy were obviously the majority. I had 8 romance and 7 fantasy. Not all of that is because I I'm always drawn to those books. It was partially because of projects. But romances are very easy to read quickly because they can be kind of formulaic, and so your brain doesn't have to come up with a whole bunch of new information. I also read 5 thrillers in this 30 days, which was a big surprise to me, but I think kind of for the same reason. They can be a little bit formulaic and they're just very easy to like read in one sitting and just kind of completely immerse yourself in, which is something you really need when you're trying to read 30 books in 30 days. So let's talk about some tangible things that I think really helped me keep focused, keep on track, and ultimately succeed in 30 books in 30 days. The first one is find people to do it with you. That's the first thing I can tell you. Our little group kind of grew into chaos. We ended up calling it Cultmas for one reason or another. And it was really nice to have like that group message that was like, I'm so close, I'm at 20 books, I finished this, like, and it was nice to like have that A, accountability, but B, that like moral support, because if you're trying to do it on your own, then like you are your own accountability and you are your own moral support. And so having friends that are like in the same boat with you is super helpful. Secondly, you want to go into it with a plan. 30 and 30 is not for the mood reader, because sometimes when you're a mood reader, you're like, you know, actually the 500-page tome sounds great today. And that is not something you can do unless you have a plan in place to also be reading some short books along with it. Due to having a bunch of books that I needed to read for content, the plan kind of organized itself in a way, but there were books that I was adding in as we were going. They were short books, they were books that had audio, they were easy to digest genres, anything that I could make easier while also trying to read some of my bigger books for projects like my SPIFBA books and things like that. Thirdly, and this will not work for everybody, but audiobooks saved my life. I am blessed and fortunate enough to have a job where I can listen to an audiobook during the day while I'm working for like 80% of my day. Outside of like meetings and things like that, I kind of work on my own. And so I have the ability to just stick an AirPod in and listen to an entire book at work. And I know that that's not something that everybody can do, but it's definitely something that like helped me succeed with 30 and 30. If I didn't have that, there's no way that this project would have happened. Number 4 is don't procrastinate. Okay, you have 30 days and it's really easy on day 1 to be like, I have 30 days. It's fine if I don't finish one. So I actually made, I made spreadsheets for my friends that were doing this. And part of it was just to keep me accountable because said spreadsheet had a progress bar that got fuller. So it was fun to like see that progress bar kind of go up and kind of see all of the stats that were happening. So you just kind of have to figure out what works for your brain. And for me, that dopamine hit was it, and so I was able to stay on track. I think overall this project was a huge success, and yes, I will definitely do it again. I enjoyed doing it. That was one of the questions, was like, did you enjoy doing this? And I feel like it can be stressful in the moment, but it was so much fun, A, to do it with a bunch of people, but B, just to like see the number on my physical TBR going down so drastically. I read a lot in a normal month, but like normally it's like in the teens, so being able to say that like I'm dropping 30 books, or like I guess 15, off of my physical TBR is a huge accomplishment for me because I'm one that like will never go on a book buying ban. I enjoy buying books, but I have to read at a pace where I am reading more than I'm bringing in, which sometimes doesn't happen. So these projects kind of jumpstart that. One of the questions on Instagram was, when did you sleep? And there were nights where I would like stay up a little bit later than I normally would in order to like finish a book so that I could say that I finished a book in one day. But I don't think that that's much different than any other month because I'm usually on a time crunch for videos anyways. And a lot of it, again, came down to being able to read audiobooks at work. I also have a 45-minute, on a good day, 45-minute commute each way to work. So that's at least an hour and a half that I'm in the car. And when you're listening to something on 2x speed, that's 3 hours of audiobook, again, on a good day. Most of the time it's close to an hour on the way home. So that's quite a bit of an audiobook that I can listen to just while I'm driving. Again, that's not going to work for everybody, but for me, that was definitely a contributing factor. Someone else also asked if it was better or worse that I had other people doing it with me, and I kind of talked about like, yeah, I wouldn't be able to do it on my own. I've tried doing it on my own. It doesn't work in my brain. Like, it can be pressure inducing, but I think it's like a good pressure because it's like a competitive thing. I am very competitive by nature. If you don't know this about me, I like to be competitive. And so when you see like, oh, someone else is doing better, like someone else is on track and you're 2 books behind, because like our spreadsheet was just a group thing, that just kind of like made me want to read more. So yes, having friends is definitely the way to go. All that to say, if you want to be crazy and you want to try to read 30 books in 30 days, it is possible, with some caveats, obviously. There is definitely a privilege to having the job that I have, the ability to listen to audiobooks the way that I do. Like, not everybody enjoys listening to audiobooks, and so when they are sitting down and reading, like, that's the only thing they can do. And because I listen to books like probably 90% on audio at this point, I'm able to multitask, I'm able to be productive, I'm still able to like keep up with other things in my life and still like listen and comprehend what I'm reading. So all that to be said, yes, I will be doing this again. I don't know when. It'll definitely be after Amazing Readathon has settled, because I imagine that I will read a lot in June anyways. But it's fun to have this like little challenge going. It's super satisfying to see your physical TBR numbers drop so drastically, and yeah, I like to chase dopamine. Let me know if this is something that you would ever consider doing. It sounds crazy when you think about it as a big, huge project, but it's you know, break it down to bite size, and it's not the scariest thing in the world. And if you're not feeling chatty, do the sun emoji. If you want to see the weekend vlogs where I did definitely catch up on my 30 and 30, I've got Peace Talks here and Scattergorathon here, so you can check those out. And if you're new here and you have not yet subscribed, there's a little button, then you can do so down below the video. If you'd like to hang out with me more, the links to my Instagram, Goodreads, Twitter, and my Patreon are linked in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!